Hey everybody, it's Allie and welcome to our Y&R Chat for Sunday, October 16th, 2016. How about that Brash and Sassy commercial? That was some high production value there. I want to know where I can purchase Bear by Brash and Sassy. I'm into fragrances. I would love to have a new perfume. Would you? In fact, I think maybe we should have a fun poll question this week. Would you buy Bear by Brash and Sassy? Would you go to the department store and purchase Bear if it were available today? yrchat.com. Let's just have a fun poll question for the week if you want to vote on that, and then also leave your comments about the commercial and the new perfume. I mean, remember back in the day we had Brash and Sassy perfume quite a bit. We had cosmetic launches quite a bit back in the days. Whole campaigns that we knew about. I mean, can you name some of them? If you want to go to the website too, you can maybe list out some of the names of our cosmetic campaigns. Of course, Glow by Jabot comes to mind for me. There was one that Drusilla was involved in too that was supposed to be all natural and organic. Oh my gosh, I could probably, if I sat down, I could probably list them all, but maybe you can help me list them too. yrchat.com. Now, I mentioned last week that I have a little family party to go to today, so I'm just going to try to do a quickie Y&R chat. I'm hitting the highlights. I hope that I don't miss anything hugely important, but I will definitely be back next week to do a longer Y&R chat with the full video, but for today, it's just the audio. I think we can manage, though. It was a pretty good week still. After last week's whole barroom brawl and Brash and Sassy interview debacle, Hilary was in a really good position to make a big splash with a juicy gossip story that Billy would be at the center of. There's so many different ways to juice out on this. I mean, you could take the Billy and Victoria angle, you could take the Billy and Jack angle, but Hilary didn't do that. We'll just say that Devon has his wife on a tight diamond leash these days, which maybe is not an entirely bad place to be. Wouldn't bother me one bit. I mean, shoot, I'd probably stand in front of the TV and say whatever Devon wanted me to, as long as he kept the presents coming and the fabulous houses and clothes and all the lifestyle. That'd be fine with me. But he does convince her to keep the peace nice and fluffy, which of course made all of the executives at Brash and Sassy happy. Billy, Kane, Victoria, Jill, although unfortunately for Hilary, the whole story was not quite welcomed with open arms by the viewers. I think that Hilary was hoping that she would be a new darling for the media and representative, and that this would maybe bring her some new attention, and that didn't quite turn out that way. The viewers hated her, they panned her, and delightfully, Lily couldn't resist the opportunity to dig in on Hilary, get the claws out and get in a good scratch to let Hilary know she was very well aware of her less than stellar reception by the public. I tell you, I would not count Hilary out yet, though. Did you see that look that Lily gave Hilary at the Brash and Sassy event after she was praising Kane? It was kind of like everybody at the event was acknowledging that Kane was really the one who took this project and drove it forward. He was the motivating factor. He was behind a lot of the ideas and a lot of the sweat that went into it. And not only were other people within Brash and Sassy complimenting him, but there was this brief little moment where Hilary was seeming kind of impressed with Kane, and she sort of made a toast, way to go, Kane. And Lily just gave her this little look that I found to be quite suspicious. suspicious. I wonder if this rivalry between Hilary and Lily is going to be heating up even more than it already has. I mean, Hilary may decide to go scorched earth. Her marriage to Devon be damned. Brash and Sassy is not the only well of gossip in this town. Lily might find herself as a lead story, or who even knows? Maybe she might find herself with her husband getting lured away. I don't know. That look seemed like maybe there might be some jealousy in it. Plus, all of these late nights that Kane's putting in at the office, there's only so many times that Brash and Sassy couch is going to be exciting for Lily and Kane. Where we last left Billy and Travis, they both were sitting their butts behind bars at the Genoa City Jail, just waiting for someone to bail them out after their bar fight. And of course, who should come to rescue Billy but Mommy? Jill walks in the jail and oh Lord, when she looked at him and said, "When you act like a child, Billy, Mummy has to fix things." I was like, oh my gosh, is this Joan Crawford or Jill Atkinson? Is it Jill Crawford? That was crazy. That had to be probably one of the best lines, best moments of the week. When you act like a child, Billy, Mummy has to fix things. Oh my gosh, that was good. Why doesn't she just wipe his bum for him too? I mean, is he a baby? Maybe she could change his diaper while she's at it. Oh, she comes in and thinks she's gonna smooth things over for her precious, precious son. And she's been doting on him all week. Billy is really coming off like this spoiled brat this week. And the whole like mommy-son relationship thing is getting really played up, which I think is fabulous, but it makes Billy look like such a wimp. He moves out of the mansion. He tries to say, "I'm not having any more of this, Mom. I'm my own man. I'm gonna go." And he tries to go stay at the athletic club, and then he tries to quit his job at Brash and Sassy, but Jill won't let him. She shuts him down immediately. "Oh, you want to resign? Nope. If you even try it, I'm gonna sue you. You're not going anywhere, son. Sit your butt down." I don't even remember that Billy and Jill having this type of relationship in the past. Billy was always kind of more of a rebel, and he was really resentful toward Jill for sending him away to boarding school. And yes, I think that she's trying to make up for that, but he never just rolled over and took whatever Jill decided to hand him. I mean, did he really believe that Jill's going to sue her own son? Come on, man up. Stop letting Mommy run your life, even though I love it. Even though I love it. Come on, Billy, you're being kind of a weenie. Oh, it's fun though. It's really, really fun. Jill, the thing about her is I don't know if she's right or not, but from the way that she's looking at Billy and assessing him, she is pretty much chalking all of his behavior for the past months and months and months up to the fact that he is missing his ex-wife, Victoria, and specifically that he's jealous about Victoria and Travis's new relationship. So is she right? I don't know. I'm not sure. It's hard to get a gauge on what Billy is thinking these days because he seems to flip and flop just depending on which way the wind is blowing. But Victoria decides that even though Travis lied to her about the whole sleeping with the boss's wife thing, that she still cares about him. She bails Travis out of jail. They go home, and it at first seems a little bit dicey, like he's going to pack up his stuff and leave. And at the very last minute, she stops him. They kiss and make up. They have their very first declarations of love. And now all of a sudden the L word is out there on the table quite a bit. But it is anything but smooth sailing, and something tells me that Victoria and Travis, although I love them, are just not destined to be. Something tells me there's more gonna go on, or maybe Billy really truly does love Victoria and Victoria really truly does love Billy and would rather be with him. Just there's something that tells me that there's major trouble in the water for Victoria and Travis. Also, Victor could not help but put in his 2 cents about what Travis did with the married lady, and he scolds Travis. He gives him a little smack on the hand with a ruler and then sends him to bed without dessert. And not before, by the way, kind of making Travis a little bit nervous and paranoid about Billy and Victoria's relationship, and it worked. There was more than one point in the week where Victor said to Travis, you might want to be a little more careful with who you associate with and what you do, because even though Victoria chose you this time, it doesn't mean she's not going to choose Billy next time. And Victor may very well be right, although I can't believe that he would want to do anything that would potentially push Victoria back into Billy's arms. Although, I mean, it seems to me that the winds of change are blowing. I can see a major couples shakeup happening at Y&R right now. I mean, I'm seeing couples, new ideas forming all over the place. So I think that maybe what we have right now as far as couplings is not going to necessarily be what we've got 1 month from now. I mean, I believe wholeheartedly that Y&R is trying to send us back to Billy and Victoria, which is disappointing for me because I love Victoria and Travis. I think that a lot of people do, although a lot of people don't, but I mean, a lot of couples end up being controversial. The thing, though, that bugs me in above and beyond the fact that I like Victoria and Travis together is that I guess we're just supposed to forget about Billy's undying love for Phyllis. He was absolutely out of his mind, head over heels, in love with Phyllis for the last several months, and now all of a sudden he's checking out Victoria. He's practically drooling over her. We had on Friday's show the dress incident where Victoria's trying to zip herself up into her outfit for the big Brash and Sassy premiere event, and she falls over on the floor. Billy discovers her in the office with, the back of her dress is unzipped, and he can just see all the way down her back, and he's looking at it, and he's thinking about it. We can tell. So it's obvious that we're supposed to see Billy's attraction for Victoria. Then later at the event, he shows up with her. Travis gets a little jealous. And then when Victoria and Travis are dancing together, Billy's kind of on looking at them while Jill's on looking at Billy. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how to peg Billy's feelings here. It bugs me that it changed so quickly, but I guess maybe that's just a function of the new writing or something. But I don't know. The bigger question for me this week is, why was Victoria changing in an office that's surrounded by glass doors and windows? I think Jack may have lost his touch. He's out of practice when it comes to getting the upper hand on Victor. 5 years ago, 10 years ago, he was a little more on top of his game, but today he's trying to be Mr. Sneaky. He's trying to make secret phone calls, looking at Newman Enterprises sales reports. He's calling people. He's being shady. He did the whole briefcase switcheroo in the park. I don't know about you, Jack. He thinks that he's real swift here. He tries to shove Ashley and Phyllis into working together to try to keep them busy while he's going about his little on his own rogue plan to get back at Victor. Well, Phyllis hacks Jack's computer and she realizes exactly what he's up to, or at least in some part that it has to do with getting revenge on Victor. But while Phyllis busts Jack, Ashley busts Phyllis and forces her to tell Jack exactly what she's been doing. And at the very end of Friday's show, Phyllis has to confess that she saw Jack go have that shady meeting in the park. She's been hacking his computer. She knows about, the messages she's been sending with this one, that he's been sending with this one guy. She tells him everything. And we, of course, as viewers, based on her reaction last week, we were kind of expecting Phyllis to try to convince Jack not to do it. But in a wonderful and much needed twist, she tells Jack, you know what? I know what you're doing and I'm all for it. And as a matter of fact, count me in. I was glad. I was absolutely thrilled to see her have that change of tone because it made no sense last week when she was trying to convince him otherwise. I mean, this is exactly what she should be doing. She should have been doing it last week. This is what, in fact, they should have probably been doing all along. This could have saved their marriage in the first place if they just would have kept to a united front and decided to go after Victor. Phyllis wouldn't have looked elsewhere for support at doing that. And gosh, I mean, all along, it's like, who should understand wanting revenge on Victor better than Jack? And he was never able to pull it together until now. My question is, though, what's the plan? What exactly is it that Jack is trying to pull off here? I'm gonna guess that Jack thinks that this guy he met with in the park is some kind of Newman Enterprises employee with inside info on something shady that's going down at Newman Enterprises, because all of the reports Jack is looking at are showing rising profits at Newman Enterprises, whereas Jack realizes that can't be. Something's off. Something's maybe being fudged with Newman's sales reports. And if Victor's doing that, then I'm going to find out and I'm going to bust him out on it. But I think maybe whoever this guy is that Jack is communicating with is working for Victor to trap Jack, probably so that Victor can figure out what Jack's up to and then trip him up like he always does. If you go back in the history and you look at Victor and Jack over the years, Jack always does this and Jack always loses. Jack will probably end up losing Jabot at the end of this. The end of this trail probably leads to Victor cutting a check for Jabot, or at least finagling himself a board seat or something. It's so classic, and of course I love it. It's exactly what I love about The Young and the Restless, so I'm here for it. By the way, poor, unsuspecting Summer is kind of trapped in the middle of her two families, as she always seems to be. And she ends up singing. She sings like a little canary. And she ends up telling Victor that she saw Jack being a little bit shady. And she is concerned about, that Jack is going to do something to harm Victor's company. And Victor just sits back. He just takes the info. He was hoping and counting on the fact that Summer would spill some information coming from either Jack or Phyllis anyway. And so he just says, oh, well, really? Well, I don't think Jack would do that. Everything's fine. He completely reassures Summer and plays her for the little fool that she completely is, clearly using her. I mean, the scene before, he was telling Travis, whatever you do, don't tell Summer and Abby about anything that's going on with this corporate espionage. They need to be kept in the dark. And I thought to myself, well, that makes sense. That's very Victor-like. But what really is going on with Travis and Victor? Because I want to say I smell a mole. Travis is the one who suggested beefing up the security at Newman Enterprises in the first place. Is there any chance that Travis is the mole and Victor knows about it? It just seems so easy. It just seems like Victor has welcomed Travis into the catbird seat Adam's office with open arms and with absolute ease, and I feel so suspicious of that. I wonder if Victor knows that maybe Travis is a mole. Maybe he is providing some sort of info, or maybe Victor expects that Travis is going to betray him. Or who knows, maybe Travis could be completely genuine and could ultimately end up just being someone who decides to switch sides. If Billy and Victoria were to get back together, leaving Travis on the outside, he would have every reason to team up with Jack and try to bring down Victor and Billy. And let's not forget that Victor asked Travis to keep Abby in the dark too. I keep wondering if she is going to play a key role in whatever is going down between the two companies as yet another Newman-Abbott sort of combo where she's stuck in between those two families. So maybe Abby is going to step things up and figure things out, or who knows, maybe she'll just find herself falling into bed with Travis once she finally accepts that her marriage is over. Wow, the 3-year anniversary of Delia's death. Can you believe it's been that long? Oh, I mean, and it's such a good time to circle back to it, considering we have Chloe on the canvas now. Billy is really struggling right now. So I did appreciate that Y&R took the time to acknowledge Delia. I really loved, and probably one of my unexpectedly favorite parts of it was just having grandma time with Jill and Esther. Jill, it's so hard for her to hold her tongue and not say negative things to Esther, but the nature of their relationship is something that is so classic to Y&R. It connects us not only back to Delia, but it connects us to Catherine too. So I really enjoyed seeing Jill and Esther sit down and talk about Delia and sort of talk about the state of things. I also really liked Kevin and Chloe having a very honest, very healing moment. Kevin knows that he was the one who asked Chloe to go out on the night of Delia's death. It kind of kept her indisposed while something really horrific was going on, and it unfortunately led to her not being there for her daughter in her final moments. And Chloe has always resented Kevin for that, but she did try to tell him, look, that's in the past. I don't feel that way anymore. And so it was good to have that moment between them. By the way, I liked that Chloe kind of wanted to be on her own, but Kevin had a very special relationship with Delia too. He wanted to make time to go and honor her, and I liked that Mariah was there for Kevin. You know, she's always there for him as a friend. It was like way too awkward that he was gonna try to hook her up with somebody at the station. that was like, whoa, okay, you don't need to overstep. Mariah will be fine. But I did kind of like that they were trying to be unawkward friends again. I'm fine with Mariah and Kevin not working out romantically, but let's get that friendship up and going again. That was a good thing. And we don't need to ruin that good thing with sex. I mean, that's kind of what they did. But let's try to get back to where we were with Mariah and Kevin. Now, I also really appreciated that we zeroed in on Chelsea during Delia's sort of memorial episode. Chelsea was reflecting with Nick, talking about this great gift that Delia gave to Connor. She gave Connor the gift of eyesight, and it was a very significant storyline in Y&R history. It was significant as far as character development for both Chelsea and Connor and Adam. We also saw Victor laying a single red rose at the crash site on Adam's behalf, which was very, very touching. I was just in general glad to see everyone coming together and remembering this event. I thought when we were with Nick and Chelsea, I was so happy to be at the park. I was just glad that they were at the memorial tree instead of being at that crash site. And then out of nowhere, Chloe shows up and takes Bella there. A child on the side of the road? You're taking your current child on the side of the road to where your other child died? That seemed so inappropriate to me. I at least liked that Chloe kind of had her arm, like she was holding Bella kind of by her little arm while like the entire time, because I was just waiting. Like, you cannot take this child onto the side of the road. She could dart out into traffic at any moment here. I would think you would learn your lesson and not want, I wouldn't want my kid anywhere near that site. So it was weird to me that Chloe, fine, go there yourself. If that's for some reason where you want to remember her, I would never want to go back to the crash site as a memorial site. That seems morbid. I would rather go to the tree or her school or some other positive place. I don't know why they keep bringing that crash site back. I need to let it go. But I especially don't know why she would need to bring Bella there. It was ridiculous. But of course, she wasn't there alone. Billy shows up and he is wrecked. I mean, we have the whole devolution of Billy's character beginning with that moment of Delia's death. It destroyed his life. It destroyed his marriage. It set into motion a whole chain of events that probably led up to exactly where we are now. So it was nice to focus in on Billy and kind of remember that this is why he is the way he is. This is why we have had that significant change in the Billy character. He maybe used to be the party-loving fun boy, but that moment when Delia died and his feeling, I think, of guilt associated with it, and he even said, "I just wanted to get ice cream." I mean, that was the moment that changed his character forever, and him probably more than anyone else who was associated that, except for maybe, I don't know, Adam. But he was there, and of course Chloe was there at the same time, and Chloe of all people is trying so hard to dispense this wisdom to him, and there seemed like there was a real bond there as Delia's parents and maybe even as friends. And then it was weird because Billy was being introduced to Bella, and we're all thinking, is this his daughter? Is he like meeting his daughter for the first time? And Y&R went back and refilmed, if I'm not wrong, I believe that they refilmed the sperm begging scene, because I think that when Chloe actually was going to Billy and asking him to be the father of a new child, I don't think it was this current actor Jason Thompson. I almost even want to say maybe it was Burgess Jenkins, or maybe it was even David Tom. I'm not sure, but I'm almost certain that it wasn't the current Billy. So Y&R went back and refilmed that scene of Chloe begging Billy to give her another child to replace Delia, which has to be it's completely intentional on Y&R's part. We have to know and understand that Y&R wanted us to see that, wanted it to sink in. The only thing I don't know is I just can't tell if Y&R wants us to believe that Bella is Billy's child because it's true, or because there's a twist coming. I don't know. Maybe learning that he has a daughter is just the thing that Billy needs to pull him out, to pull himself out of this pattern of misery. I wonder if this was supposed to be a Steve Burton vacation week or something, because Dylan, for seemingly no real plot reason, I guess, has decided, or he's been called out of town on assignment. Paul says Dylan needs to go to some other town and testify in some trial. And so Dylan, he although he's been on the case of Sharon Stalker very, very diligently over the past week or two, he's out of the picture this week, and I guess we're gonna have to get used to him being out of the picture permanently. Last week's poll question: Steve Burton out forever maybe as Dylan on Y&R. Was this a thumbs up or a thumbs down for you? 51% of Y&R chatters said thumbs down. I am sad to see Steve Burton go. I think a lot of people did respond to his character, respond to the way he connected within the families, but kind of surprisingly, 34% of people voted that they were kind of indifferent to Dylan and weren't really feeling one way or the other about the fact that he is leaving. And then we had 14% saying thumbs up, get rid of him, I'm not a fan. So it's kind of, he is maybe sort of one of those divisive characters. I've always wondered if maybe he struggled a little bit on Y&R because he was such a recognizable character from another soap opera, but I thought he fit really well on the landscape. I'm gonna be sad to see him go, but we have no choice about that. It's gonna leave a hole. It is gonna leave a hole in a couple of different people's lives, and of course Sharon's. Now this week, since Dylan was out on assignment, we had Nick in on assignment on call as Sharon's temporary bodyguard. So he has to stay in the house with Sharon to keep an eye on her and the kids since Dylan's going to be out of town and there's this whole stalker situation that's looming over them. Now, of course, we were going to have a couple of different scenes of Sharon being paranoid with her bug eyes, try to have little sneaky conversations with Mariah in the corner and Nick maybe overhearing, and we even had an almost confession from Sharon wanting to tell Nick about Sully's paternity. Yeah, right. It was never, ever, ever gonna happen. Sharon's never just gonna tell Nick, A, and B, if Dylan hasn't figured out what's going on inside his own home, I certainly don't think that Nick will in the span of, a week or maybe two. So there's no real threat of the truth coming out as a result of Nick staying with Sharon. But in the meantime, I don't care. I'm just enjoying the ride. Seeing Nick in the house, making a fire for Sharon, getting the little tour from Faith, Faith showing him where the towels are and him saying, I used to live here. I mean, he had the ranch, or he had that house built for her, the little cottage. I remember the day that Nick picked her up and took her in over the threshold of that house. And just to me, to see them both back in it together, it hit a spot for me, you guys. It just hit a spot. And then we saw the preview for next week's show where there's going to be some little funny mishap where Nick is, I don't know, maybe moving something for Sharon, and maybe he's shirtless because, you don't want to get sweaty. And he falls over on the floor, and maybe Sharon falls over on top of him or near him or something, and Kevin Mariah bust in and see them together. That's going to be adorable. I can't wait to see that. I guess that's going to be on Monday. So you'll just know that I will be all ears and eyes for that funniness. I just love those two together, but there's no way it's going to happen. No way that Nick and Sharon are going to be reuniting anytime soon. Sharon keeping Summer's paternity a secret is what stopped their marriage last time. So he would never, ever, ever forgive her for keeping another paternity secret from him just a couple of years later. Now, I have got to focus in on a voicemail that Anna left me, it was probably last Sunday, but I listened to it last Sunday, and it was the comment that I can't believe I didn't make this connection with before, but now that Anna said it, I can't unhear it and can't forget it. Anna said to me, Allie, don't forget, Chelsea knows that Christian is Adams. So when the secret comes out that Sully is Christian, Chelsea will know it, and she will feel bonded to Christian and want to raise him with Nick as one big happy family. Yes, Anna, you hit it. I mean, I feel like I've been trying to connect the dots on how this whole paternity storyline is going to play out in the end, and you hit it right there. That's what makes sense to me, because it would make sense that Chelsea, knowing that Christian Christian was actually Adam's son, would not necessarily tell Nick, but would let Nick think it and would feel bonded to a son, another son that her dead husband had, and would want to bring him into the household, raise him with Nick, with Connor. They're already getting along so well. So maybe even though Nick and Chelsea are both really resistant to the idea that they would have a relationship, they may just end up finding themselves just forced, I guess, or just happenstancing themselves into being a family together, and maybe the romance will lead from there. And of course, that's going to leave Sharon completely out in the cold. She's not going to have Dylan. She's not going to have Nick. I don't know who she's going to have. I guess Mariah. Mariah is the only one she's going to have, because in the meantime, she is just continuing to scramble. She is working with Mariah to try to find a way to keep this secret with its lid on. She has decided that what she wants to do is try to convince Paul to get Patti transferred far, far away, somewhere out of state, where Patti cannot harm her, cannot continue to threaten her, and yet in order to placate Patti, Sharon would need to convince Patti that she's getting her transferred so that she can break her out of a facility that is less secure. Kind of an Ian Ward style thing. You remember when Chelsea and Adam tried to convince Ian Ward that they were going to break him out of prison, and then they double crossed him at the last minute. I think that's kind of what Sharon is going for when it comes to Patti. But she's got Mariah being her little right-hand man, and I think, gosh, it would have been like Thursday's show. Mariah decides she'll go to the mental facility. What did they call it? Stonebrook or something? We have Fairview and Stonebrook or something like that. And I get the impression Fairview is the spa mental facility, but Stoneview, that's the more serious for mentally ill criminals facility. They have high security because Mariah had to go through her little security check to even get in there. But she's decided to help Sharon because it would be so obvious if Sharon was going to visit Patti. But Mariah's a little more low key, so she goes there to try to clue Patti in on the plan, in quotes. And she almost gets caught because Paul is there at the same time visiting Patti, trying desperately, by the way, to communicate with her. It was so sad. The scene where Patti is just painting away and in her own little world, and Paul is with tears in his eyes trying so hard to just get something out of her, just even to recognize him. And it kind of dawned on me that I was thinking at first, why is she ignoring him? She's obviously clear. There are points where Patti is crystal clear. And then now she's in the room with Paul and she's unresponsive. And I realized that it's bothering Patti. I think that she's keeping this lie from her own family. It's not just the fact that she knows this child is not Dylan's son, but she also knows that it's not her beloved Paulie's grandson. So she's worried, I think, about how this is all going to affect her family too, which, should give her a motive to keep her mouth shut, but I don't think so. Either way, whatever, the actress is amazing. How great is she? From everything, from the way she freaks out, to the looks in her eyes, to the way when she goes to talk on those phones with the glass to either Sharon or Mariah, the way she kind of sits down on the chair with her legs first. She's given a full body crazy performance that I just love it. And I loved Mariah and Patti coming face to face for the first time in a while, I guess. It's just interesting to me how Patti can be so sweet and so sort of unassuming at some points, and then she can be violent at others, and then she's just so I don't know, it's like she's so cunning at other times, and that's how she was when it came to Mariah. Mariah tries to tell Patti the plan, again in quotes, let's get you transferred. We're gonna get, what we want to do is get you transferred to a low security facility where we'll make sure that we can bust you out from there because we'll never bust you out of here. And Patti kind of, I guess, falls for it. Mariah tells her, do what you got to do to get transferred. And sure enough, Patti flips out on cue. She's in her cell, tossing around her canvases and her paints, and a nurse has to come in and hold her and comfort her. And I'm thinking, wait a minute. So how exactly is acting like a cuckoo bird gonna get you transferred to a less secure facility? The woman killed a doctor, for crying out loud. Have you ever sat back and thought to yourself, Hilary's legit? That Hilary Hamilton, she is legit. No, of course you haven't, because the only person in the world who would ever say such a thing is Devon. Last week's Who Said It quote was, Hilary's legit. Of course, like nobody other than Devon in town could possibly have shown such unwavering support for Hilary. So a few people got that one right. Congratulations, Henry, Sandra, Sharita, Jamie, Tanya, Gina, Candida, and Dylan. Congratulations, you guys. You all got that quote right. Can you do it again? Is my question. Here's this week's quote. You're a little bit sour. Somebody is. There's a lot of people actually in this town that are a little bit, maybe sometimes a lot sour, but only one person said that quote this week. You're a little bit sour. If you think you know who said that line, you can go to yrchat.com and leave your guess. And if you get it right, then I will read your name and give you your props on next week's Y&R Chat. Okay, everybody, it's time for me to hit the road. I hope that I hit the highlights before I hit the road. But I'm going to come back next week. We'll do a full chat. I'll get comments in. It'll be just like normal. So in the meantime, if you want to leave your comments on the website, I'm definitely going to, of course, be reading them. yrchat.com is where you can go to the blog. You can talk back to me, and you can talk to other Y&R chatters, or you could just go to Facebook, YouTube. You can find the podcast links all from the website. And of course, you can call into my voicemail at 309-588-4569. It's always my pleasure hearing from you guys, and I will be back next week to